17031 Whopper. We'll call him the Southern Group. Eastern Group is 50 east of Whopper. Eastern Group now turning cold angle. Understand, cleared to kill. Leader, past the line now. One, cleared kill, cleared kill.
По курсу до цели полсотни 3. Выше 3. По фронту между целью 2 километра.
Одна слева, одна справа, 209.
Пошли направо, 39. Наблюдаю, работаю по ней. 10 наблюдает? Нет? Понял. Находится справа. Иду за паром второй. Уходите влево, 78. После второй за нами. Работаю по верхнему. Давай, выхожу вправо. Поздно. Понял. Просто второй за нами, давай. Огонь, огонь! Понял.
There we go, that should fix it. Sorry, my microphone wasn't working for a second there. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are we going? It's good to see you. Welcome to SATAC 2022 Week 3 ALAMO versus FTQ. I hope that you guys are hyped because the matches have been great so far, and we are about to head into another one, just about to strike into the gameplay between these two extremely talented teams. Now, they need a little bit of time to get the map set up, so first things first, before anything else, we need to figure out what today's map is. So, with any luck, I should be able to show you guys this. Okay, we have 18 different choices that we have got to get ourselves ready for, so one button to press, and then we'll know where we're going. It is number 7, which is Larvan versus Fajura. light, high, cloud, midday. Hopefully everyone's got access to the Syria map, but we will see how things go, and we'll take it as it comes. Have you guys been watching all of the matches that have been happening so far? I hope that you guys have been enjoying them. With me and the other casters, including Tiger and Nuff Butter, who we have here with us at the moment. Thank you for shouting them out at the start of the stream. I tell you what, I have, just from watching this, learned some really good new tricks. Hey Techneticum, how you going? I hope that you're having a good day, and it's good to see you. Techneticum, of course, a member of the 51st, one of the members of the organisational team for SATAC 2022, a prestigious aerial combat association and one of the longest running competitions within the competitive flight simulation scene. Just call you Tech? Alright. But I like Techneticum, it's cool, but Tech, alright. We'll see if we can get it going. Now, have you guys been keeping up to date with the results so far? Let's see how things have been going in Groups A and B. So, it's been a curious few matches so far. ETF on 1 win with 2 points. ALAMO with 1 loss so far. And FTQ with no matches. The 51st came out of the gates with 1 win, no losses, 2 points. And the 343rd, unfortunately, lost the last one. GTAC not yet to fight. And in Group C and D, we have TMC with a loss, SPQR with a win, RS with a win, GC with a loss, PTF with a loss, and InSky with a win, Wolfpack yet to fight. So, we're getting well into the group stages at the moment, and we're learning a lot about what the peak of DCS aviation looks like. Now, all of the teams that we have involved in the competition at the moment, whoops, that's the wrong screen. All of the teams that we have involved at the moment are getting ready for all of their respective fights. Some of the best and longest running organisations within the DCS competitive scene. And some of the people for whom you have probably been playing on all kinds of multiplayer servers and witnessing some of their destructive potential. Important to recognise some of the sponsors for SATAC: Heat Blur, Eagle Dynamics, Magnitude 3, Decker Ironworks, Razband, TacView, and Lot ATC, without whom none of this competition would be possible. So, have you guys been watching the matches so far? Have any of the results got you guys a little bit worried about what you've got to see coming up? Are you curious about some of the new tactics and strategies that you've seen people using? And have you picked up anything that you could perhaps bring into the battlefield yourself? One thing I've learnt, certainly so far, is the sheer range of the Su-27's R-27ERs. I think a vastly underrated missile that, since seeing its use in SATAC, I have really had to come to terms with the fact that this is not something to be messed with. Nonetheless, we will have yet more fights coming up today as we get everything set up and everyone into their starting positions. Now, this map takes place on the Persian Gulf. We'll give you a hot minute to get everyone loaded in and ready to go, but while we're waiting for everything to get set up, we'll just check in with everything, making sure all of our tools are working. Of course, we will be covering this with live gameplay, as well as live TacView telemetry. Hey, Pump GT. Hey, Punk GG. Oh my goodness, I'm stumbling all over my words. Anyway, it's good to see all you guys. Mika VT, Nuff Butter, Rabby Wows, Cox Jesco, Punk GG, Gopnik Czar, and everyone else. Watching Alamo's performance last week against ETF makes me excited for today's match. Haven't seen FTQ fight yet, but I think Alamo has got some good teamwork under their skin, and you think they might go far. Alright. That's pretty exciting. First one you're catching live, Psychosocial, you're in for a treat. You get to see everything as it happens, the combatants all participating in the peak of aerial combat as it happens live. Okay, we have some issue with the server. Seeing as I think some of the FTQ members may not be able to play on Persian, so we may have to re-roll. But we'll see what happens. Re-roll 1 to 6. Roger. Alright, we'll have to re-roll once again. So we'll roll 1 to 6. Let me get my dice back out again, and we'll see what we end up with. 1. So we are looking at Sochi versus Mozdok. Late afternoon, light cloud. No worries. We'll give them a minute to get the server up and running. Of course, with the DCS being what it is, it does take a little bit of getting set up while we wait for the match to start, but don't you worry, action is just around the corner. And of course, we have to communicate with the teams and make sure everyone's squared away with what's going on. Good luck to both the teams. Looking forward to the watch. Me too. I can't wait to see everyone up in the air. It'll be an absolute thrill ride. I tell you what, I can't pick a fight that I've liked the most so far. Every single one of them has involved all kinds of fancy flying and some real tricks and stunts that I have been caught sincerely off guard by. Now, speaking to you guys who are in chat watching, if you were to take an aircraft up into SATAC, what do you think you would fly? What's your best dogfighter? If you had to go no holds barred and do your best in aerial combat, what's your air-to-air aircraft? Tell me what you like. For me, I would have to say probably the Su-27. Not because I am one, but probably the one I've flown the most. But it's hard to go without Fox 3s. Even still, it's a tricky decision to make. Mi-24 Hind, come at me, mate. Yeah, man, you're bringing those R60s on the wings, the ultimate air-to-air platform, the one that can get underneath the radar by landing and staying on the ground. If the whole world's your runway, you don't have to worry about making it back to base. You'll inevitably end up where you have to be. The fairy swordfish. Ah, yes, the string bag. A little bit of I mean, how can someone shoot you down when you're in a plane made out of wood and paper and the bullets go straight through? I tell you what, you kill everything with your Mistral Gazelle. Man, are we going to have to do SATAC with helicopters? Pure PvP helicopter action. Now, what do you think people would bring? Do you think it would all be Gazelle Mistrals? Or do you think you'd get some Hinds with R60s? I know the R50s with the Vickers and especially the Black Shark 3 with its Igla missiles might be able to make a good show for it. Are you making for the MiG-21 to make its appearance? I have these thoughts rattling around in the top of my head, thinking to myself, could we have a SATAC that's Cold War, where we have F-5s and MiG-21s and Mirage F-1s and even F-86 Sabres and MiG-15s and MiG-19s dogfighting each other? Does Mi-24 can go M2? I'm not sure. Petro is pixel accurate. Not gonna lie, you'd go Apache just for the MWS and try to use the Hellfires for the Helis. I mean, the Black Shark has NWS as well. But that's an interesting choice. Thank you for all of the follows, guys. Takuro Nakato, Insane Hexy, Punk GG, and Gopnik Czar, and Boba Bro, as well as Rowdy Ranch Ranger. Thank you for the follows, much appreciated. I am a DCS content creator, along with a bunch of others. Now it's time for a coin flip to see who gets to pick which side. FTQ has picked heads. Alright, let's do a coin flip. And it's tails. Alrighty, so it looks like Alamo's going to pick what they would like to start off with. As the coin flip came up tails, we'll see which one they pick. This is on the Caucasus between Sochi, Adler, and Mozdok airports. Tails never fails. It's not a bad idea. Thanks for the Prime subscription, Punk GG. Much appreciated. Alrighty. So, with any luck, we should have everything set up and looking like it's running the way that we expect. And my TAC view has disconnected. Let's see if I can get back into this. There we go. Awesome. And we'll check that everything is working as expected. Let me just scrub through my scenes. So, we have TAC view, and it's looking good. We have DCS, and it's looking good. We have TAC view and DCS at the same time. Excellent. What more could you possibly want? All the coverage of all the action all the way through. Looks like we've got people getting ready to start up. See who we have here. We'll get the text turned on. Got the grid lines turned off. And we'll switch to satellite view as these boys get going. Everyone's just starting to arm up their aircraft. Of course, we have custom skins for a lot of these guys. In FTQ, we have Cannibalistic Tomato. Alamo, we have True Metro Man. Look at these guys. I mean, it'll take a minute for all of the textures and skins to load in properly, but I can tell already that Alamo, oh my goodness, they're just looking gorgeous in these F-15s. Come and take it. I tell you what, this is that's a threat that I think we're going to have to make sure that they follow through on. A full spread of F-15s coming along for Alamo at the moment. Meanwhile, we have F-18s and an Su-33 flown by FTQ Revenge. Fantastic. The Su-33s have been performing wonderfully, and I think have shown people that these aircraft are not necessarily to be underestimated. You can see the electro-optical sight wiggling around with the pilot's head. Some F-18s on the lineup. So let's have a look at what we have. It looks like on the FTQ side, we have Cannibalistic Tomato in a F-14B, FTQ Giving TNT, and FTQ Angry Raisin in F-18Cs, FTQ Bait in an F-16, and we have FTQ Revenge in an Su-33. Meanwhile, over on the Alamo side, we have Alamo True Metro Man, Alamo Dun Dun 92, Alamo Moldy, and Alamo Prez in F-15Cs, and 64 Tab, probably a mercenary for Alamo, coming and joining in on an F-16C, as well as 64 Comey 1 launching in an F-16 as well. So, we have an eclectic mix. On the blue side, we have a predominantly Western lineup, including more F-15Cs than I think we've seen so far, alongside an eclectic mix of a bit of everything from the guys over in FTQ. Now, having a look at the F-14B, of course, we need both a player and a Rio within the aircraft, and in the F-14B, we have Cannibalistic Tomato in the pilot seat and FTQ America in the back seat, acting as the Rio in this F-14B. In the matches I've covered so far, the F-14Bs have not necessarily pulled their weight, I think. The full opportunities are provided by those long-range Phoenix missiles are not necessarily being exploited to their full potential. But with that having had been said, that's not to say that we need to write this off. The Phoenixes are buns? Well, you said it, not me. Alright. Hopefully today's performance on my side is acceptable, but we may have to do a little bit of fiddling around with settings as we go along, as always. because everyone knows that this game we all know and love can occasionally be a little bit sporadic in its performance. The Phoenixes are buns. Gosh, I know back when we first got access to the F-14s, that would have been an extremely contentious thing to say. But maybe now we'll see if there's any proof behind that pudding. We have ALAMO's F-15s beginning to taxi up to the runway. I absolutely love these liveries. These guys styling themselves after an aggressor squadron. I know a little bit about them. In fact, as they taxi along, let's see what they're up to. ALAMO is a team made up of both North American and European players, including the US, Germany, the Czech Republic, and Slovakia. It was formed around 2020. They participated in SATAC 2021, House of SAR, and TACT 21-1. So, this is a team with some experience, but they are still a little bit young. So, they have plenty to prove, but I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed. The F-15's an interesting choice. With the lack of data link, you're going to have to make sure that your situational awareness is on point. However, they have an absolutely monstrous amount of fuel, with all of the aircraft looking like they're going to take the two winged fuel tanks, but not the centerline fuel tanks. Even still, with a bit of fuel management, I think you could stay up in the air all day long. The chicken wings are in the oven. Let's go giving TNT. Oh, fantastic. If you're here supporting someone specific, or if there's a pilot that you are particularly inspired by, feel free to give them a shout out. Mark, top dog of the sky. Do you know these guys? Are they friends of yours? Have you flown with them before? And it looks like we have the FT skins for FTQ. The black and white aggressor camouflage for the F-18s. Bringing along plenty of fuel. So, it looks like these guys are thinking that there will definitely be a little bit of a fuel fight happening here. And the F-16s bringing along full tanks as well. And the F-14s that we know and love coming along with the customary centerline tank. Let's go giving TNT for the science team. The science team. Oh boy. Well, here's your boy right here giving TNT, sitting in an F-18, all armed up and ready to go. He's from the science team. I wonder if that means what I think it is. One way or the other. Have you missed anything? No, we are still in the startup phase. Everyone's just getting into their planes and getting all armed up and ready to go. You are part of the science team, indeed. Oh my goodness, we got some Project Melody fans here. I can tell you. Meanwhile, looks like the ALAMO boys are getting their way up to the runway. They'll have a little bit of time just to sit and relax for a little bit while we get everything all squared away. Wonder if the F-16s will hang back and provide data link updates to the F-15s so they do missile truck things. I tell you what, that's an interesting proposition. That's not a terrible idea. They really going to stick to the flanker for both rounds? Well, we'll see. I've seen the Su-33 do some pretty intense fighting. Science team forever. You've just got to love them. Also, I think I have actually managed to figure out what causes the stuttering issue within DCS. So hopefully playback is going to be much smoother than the previous streams. However, if it does ever return back, I do know exactly what causes it. So if you go, oh, Airshot, the stream's stuttering a little bit, just tell me and I'll fix it. What is the difference between the runway and the combat zone? That's a question I can answer for you. Let's have a quick look as the crow flies. It is around about a 4750 nautical mile journey for what appears to be both teams around about the same amount, so between 47 and 50 nautical miles. Plenty of time to get to altitude. We are 5 people watching like it's the Super Bowl. Excellent. Well, pass my regards on to the rest of the science team. I hope that you guys enjoy yourselves very much, because I know that this is a battle of technology, and the science team ought to feel very comfortable with it. Here we have Alamo, True Metro Man, Dun Dun 92, Moldy, Prez, and the 64th, Tab, and Comey 1, all lined up in beautiful formation on the runway, looking like they're ready to go. Meanwhile, we're just figuring out a few technical issues on the FTQ side while they get everything squared away and running. Thank you for all of the follows and everything else, guys. I much appreciate you guys being here. Casting SATAC has been a wonderful experience, and I'm having the time of my life. Here we have Revenge back in his SU-33, getting all armed up and ready for combat. With that fearsome electro-optical sight peering down the nose. Shame about the canards, but never mind. FTQ bait and TNT in their F-16s carrying a full fuel load. I want to get those tanks off once they're empty. Casting SATAC looks fun, you can't wait. Enough. I'm so looking forward to you casting tomorrow, mate. You have deserved a go at this for a long time. Oh no, look, we don't mind the canards all that much, do we? Do we? Anyway, let's just have a look at the play area while we're in TAC view. So, the entire field is a bit of an interesting one, as it is essentially a series of hills and valleys, the Caucasus Mountains, a death trap for all kinds of aircraft. The low altitude flying in this area can be both rewarding and punishing, depending on how things go. These mountains can be an excellent place to get yourself out of the way of pesky Fox 3 missiles, but if you're not careful, you will end up stuck and surrounded. These look-down, shoot-down radars are nothing to be messed with. So, each teams will have to make careful choices about whether or not they go high or low. And of course, we have the biggest mountain in the Caucasus here, keeping us good company. If we get any fighting around here, it'll be interesting to see if we can use some of this for cover. How are the teams looking? Looks like Alamo is all ready and set to go. Meanwhile, FTQ is starting up. It's a flanker! Look, we've got nothing against flankers here. In this universe, my brothers and sisters deserve all the respect they can get. And it's a lovely morning flight. In fact, morning? Morning. Morning or afternoon, we'll see. The fat flanker. Plenty of internal fuel. Hey, look, all of this extra weight's not just for looks. Alrighty. Now, here's a question for you guys. If you ever fly the F-16, do you put your sidewinders on the wingtips, or do you put them on the inner pylons? I like to keep the AIM-120Cs on the wingtips, because apparently that helps with wing flutter. But some people like the look of the AIM-9s on the wingtips, and let's be honest, we're not overly concerned about the stress on the wings in these aircraft, because every time we bust them up, we can just go back and they'll give us a new one. You stagger mine missiles like a good boy. 120 on the wingtips is for chads. Excellent. Nines on the tips is for nerds. Hey, you be careful saying things like that. Looks like they're just forwarding out their order as they taxi up to the runway. Wingtip AIM-9s. Oh, look, we've got some mixed opinions about this this loadout here. Cannibalistic Tomato sweeping those wings out, getting ready for the takeoff run, with FTQ making their way down to the runway. Hello, Tron. I hope you're having a good day. I hope all of you are, and I hope you're excited for some aviation combat action. If he manually moves them back and forth, he can fly faster. That's an important thing to remember. In fact, the pilot's main job within the F-14 is just to make sure that the wings are sweeping back and forth as fast as they possibly can, while the rest of the crew keeps things feeling comfortable. And as FTQ makes their way down to the runway in a nice orderly queue, ALAMO is no doubt itching in their seats, getting ready for the fight. Looks like for FTQ, the F-14 is going to be leading the way, with the F-16s coming up behind, and finally followed up by the F-18s, with the great big Su-33 following up at the rear. So do you guys have any bets to make on this? Have you got any predictions about who may or may not win this first round, as we have FTQ coming up onto the lineup? Always intimidating to see this flight of jets taking their cue as they get ready to go. Let's check in on ALAMO, along with the 64th joining in for a little bit of fun. Not sure having the 14 up the front is the best play. I think you want that height and to be behind slightly to get the best use out of the range. FTQ will win easy. Is this live or track? This is live as it gets. This combat is going to be recorded live, performed live. These players are playing right now. Alright, we are all ready to go. Everyone's lined up, and we just lost FTQ America. I'm not sure if we just had a crash. Well, that's a little bit frustrating. Who did we lose? FTQ America. He's a Rio. Oh, I see. Okay, well, there goes the Rio for FTQ. Let's hope we can get them back in quick fast. We've suddenly got Jester back in the match. SATAC matches are live streamed. Thank you, Tech. They can fly with no Rio if they like in the group stage. Do they know that? Okie dokie. Je suis person. Thank you very much for the follow. And for the Prime subscription. The perfect stream viewer. Just follow, subscribe. What happens after that? Who cares? No, I hope all of you, enjoy yourselves and appreciate the production that we're enjoying here. That's very DCS. Someone a DC onliner. Of course, as I said before. These things, to quote William Shakespeare, the course of true love never did run smooth. And the course of true DCS never did run smooth either. For the science team, baby. Oh my goodness. We got half the science team here. Oh, look, it's good to see you guys there. Oh, we've got an impatient backseat driver. This is like the drive-through at a Wendy's, I think. I mean, I wouldn't know. I've never been to a Wendy's. Actually, I have been to a Wendy's, but not the drive-through. I'm led to believe it's a bit of a war zone back there. These guys all want chicky nugs. Thanks for the follow, CCB805. 54A or C. You know what? I'm not entirely sure if I can tell from the inside here. Maybe once he's taken off, we can have a look at the bottom. They have Cs? It's more likely that they would have Cs. The real question, do they have the Mark 54 or the Mark 60 motor? Why has it F-14 got spoilers out? Because when the throttle for the F-14 is retarded all the way back, the spoilers automatically deploy. So they'll have their throttle pinned all the way back, and the spoilers on the wings will automatically deploy. As soon as they move the throttle even a little bit forward, you'll see them fold down. Hey there, Flipperdoof, it's good to see you. I'll tell you what, are you guys excited for those multi-threading updates? Hopefully we can get some great big performance boosts out of DCS. It would be great to get a little bit of focus on the Oh, look. I can see the Rio jiggling their head around. Looks like everyone's good. We ought to get a call saying everything's good. Awesome. Both teams are ready. Fantastic. Okie dokie. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, go, go. And that begins week 3 of SATAC 2022 as we have the boys from ALAMO taking off, the F-16s leading the way, the F-15s to follow shortly behind. These guys are just about to take off. With the sun on their back, looking absolutely gorgeous. These guys are getting moving. This is the start of the first round. I cannot wait to see these guys take to the skies. So we have Moldy and Prez taking off in their F-15s. You know, tight-knit formation. What more could you want? These guys are looking incredible. The FPS gains are 100% based on system setup. It remains to be seen, but we'll see how it goes. Not sticking in burner, even though it has the fuel to keep on it. Bag Vipers, no jamming pods. That's a good point, but I think the jamming pods on the Vipers have a little bit of diminishing returns when it comes to air-based targets. Meanwhile, we have the FTQ boys all taking off. Not as in tight formation as each other. And I know we have fans of Giving TNT here, taking off with his F-18 wingman. Everyone progressing towards the inner circle. So, here's how it all works, guys. as soon as someone enters the circle, their 5-minute timer begins, and if no enemy players are present within the circle, as that 5 minutes progresses, then it's a win. Otherwise, it falls down to being able to destroy the enemy team. That being said, you do have to make it back to base after winning, so you can't burn all your fuel and land on the side of a mountain, even though it does sometimes happen. So, everyone's going to have to keep an eye on those fuel tanks as they utilize all of the missiles they have. Now, speaking of missiles, there are some other interesting notes. If we have a look at one of our F-15s here, you'll notice that they're only carrying 4 AIM-120Cs. There's a limitation on Fox 3 missiles. You can bring a maximum of 4 Fox 3 missiles. The rest of them have to be made up by other alternatives. So, it looks like the F-15s are taking along 2 AIM-9Ms, 2 Sparrows, and 4 AIM-120Cs. Likewise, we have 4 AIM-120Cs on the F-16s plus 2 AIM-9Ms. No AIM-9Xs allowed. Meanwhile, this limitation doesn't exist on the Su-33, which is electing to not bring a full complement of missiles. Here we have 4, 4, 4, 4, as expected. We have everything looking like it should. Now, let's just have a quick look at FTQ. So, over here we have 64 and ALAMO taking off in 3 distinct different directions. And in fact, we can see that the 64 boys have already dropped their centerline tanks. Those F-16s, they drink fuel like it is nothing. Meanwhile, it looks like we're getting a single file formation with the F-14B taking the higher altitude route as the F-18Cs and F-16s follow up in 2 distinct pairs lower altitude, and the Su-33 of Revenge flying solo at the time. So, in the 2 groups, we have the 64 boys in the F-16s flying straight down the middle. We have Moldy and Prez on the southern side, and we have Dun Dun 92 and True Metro Man taking the northern route. Meanwhile, Cannibalistic Tomato and America in the F-14B climbing up past 30,000 feet, as BMD, Bait, Angry Raisin, and Giving TNT are all hovering around 22,000 feet, with Revenge sitting around at a paltry 17,000 feet. Fighting has not started yet. No one has entered the circle yet, but when they do, everyone will get an alert that it's happening. Meanwhile, ALAMO is at 36,000 feet for the F-15Cs, while the F-16s are at 30,000 feet and staying in close formation. Looks like the F-16s are separating out a little bit into a combat formation. A little bit too far away for everyone to be picking up each other on radar. Current distance between the 2 teams is around about 132 nautical miles. It's still a little bit far for even the F-14B's radar. Interesting note about these F-15Cs is that they carry ECM with them. These little antennas that you see on the top of the rear wings, such as the bulbous one on the left, are ECM emitters. So these planes have ECM by default, and they're climbing up to 36,000 feet, going an absolute rate of knots. This formation is going very, very fast. Even long sticks need practice to be effective. That's true. That is extremely true. So let's check on the rest of the teams here. Looks like that FTQ is coming in a fairly loose formation, mostly single file, while Cannibalistic Tomato and America are a little bit south of the rest of their friends. The F-16s have entered the combat zone with a decent spread between them of around about 4 nautical miles. Man, these guys are so good, as their F-15 buddies are flying in 2 pairs. Looking good. I don't think there'll be any stress about FTQ entering the battle area. We just about have BMD about to contest it, and that means that the fight is well and truly on. The battle area is now contested. Both teams have entered the circle. So, FTQ, BMD, and Angry Raisin are heading towards each other. Straight down the middle, a separation of around about 46.9 nautical miles. Let's have a look at the relative speed and angels of everyone in the fight. So, we have BMD and Bait at relatively high altitudes, below Mach 1 at the moment, approaching. Meanwhile, the F-15Cs are approaching from the south and north sides in a flanking maneuver, while the F-16s progress towards them in a combat spacing. People are beginning to drop some of their fuel tanks as climbing up to altitude and getting into the zone probably sucked down a little bit. Interesting that we have Cannibalistic Tomato and America a little bit higher and to the south, while FTQ Revenge is following up in the rear in the Su-33. It'll be interesting to see what role they want the Su-33 to fulfill within this conflict. Meanwhile, Moldy and Prez are passing by 44,000 feet. They're dropping their external fuel tanks. I don't think they've stepped off the burner for a while. These guys are really high and really fast. And in fact, they're in such tight formation that they've only got one sonic boom between them. I think it's only a matter of seconds before we get our first launches. Even at these long ranges, when you're that high and that fast, it's a difficult thing to fight. It'll be interesting to see if Cannibalistic Tomato is picking up any of these targets at around about 80 nautical miles, and if they have a reaction in plan for these F-15s being so high and so fast to the south. And I don't think they would have any idea about these F-15s up into the north. It looks like they're cleanly setting up for a pincer maneuver against FTQ, but with that being said, they're burning quite a bit of fuel to do it. These F-15s do carry a lot though, so I wouldn't be too stressed. Does the enemy team know about the adversary's setup before the round? I don't think so, no, but Tech may be able to confirm me. This is round one. It says up the top left. These F-15s are so fast and so high. If there were any Chinese spy balloons up here, I tell you what, they wouldn't stand a chance. And they're beginning to peel off towards the targets. Now, being this high and this fast does not preclude you from potentially catching an AIM-54 in the face. Looks like the F-16s are beginning to climb in response, and Cannibalistic Tomato is beginning to turn. We have our first AIM-120C shot, a massive, massive lofting shot, and a second AIM-120C shot, also a massive, massive lofting shot from the Southern F-15 group. Those missiles are deadly, dangerous, and long range. We'll have to see the amount of speed that they have. Let's check the TAC view. These missiles are going at a rate of absolute knots. Who are they targeting? It looks like BMD has realized that he's caught himself a little bit of unfortunate attention. So we have these AIM-120Cs going for BMD. They are going fast, but do they have track? That's the real question. Still going at Mach 3. That's what happens when you launch them from so high. BMD must know that he's in trouble. Meanwhile, an R-27ER from Revenge. Is these missiles, do they have the range? Do they have the speed? You're going to have to keep an eye peeled for that one. I think. Have we got any track down here? BMD. Let's have a look at this AIM-120C. Oh! You're going to have to be... Yeah, that is close. But it looks like it may well be trashed. No dice. Meanwhile, we have an AIM-120C. Looking dangerously close. Oh my goodness, you're going to have to maneuver. You're going to have to... No, 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 it's just catching up with you. Oh my goodness. The sheer unluckiness. Oh my god. Check out this AIM-120C. Has it got track on anything? I don't believe it does. So it looks like Giving TNT has managed to get away clean from that one. That missile just walked into him. I know, we've got an ER launch from Revenge. I don't know who that's tracking towards, if anyone. This is not going the way of FTQ just at the moment. This is a little bit unfortunate. Okay. Meanwhile, we just have this massive, massive height advantage. Another AIM-120C coming out from True Metro Man against targets that are lower and slower than all of this. FTQ, you've lost such a massive, massive advantage by letting them get so high and so fast. You can see the vapor trails that are just representing. There's 3, 4 AIM-120Cs in the sky at the moment. It's hard to tell who's going to catch one first. We have this one going in. It's going to take some fancy maneuvering, and I don't think it has the energy to get away. There goes another FTQ plane. What about this one on Revenge? Chaff flare, chaff flare, chaff flare. Unlucky, Revenge goes down. What about this one against BMD? This is looking like it may well be a clean sweep. Is BMD pulling enough shapes to get away from this missile? Yes, it looks like he's completely trashed it. We have Cannibalistic Tomato and BMD currently in the air at the moment, and I don't think they've even fired a shot in response. They must be panicking amongst themselves at the moment. This is going downhill quickly. You're not wrong. ALAMO is putting on an absolute clinic. All of their tactics worked virtually perfectly, and I don't think that they had any real idea of what was in store for them. So, is there time to come up with some kind of plan to fight against this threat? There's so many planes in the sky, so many targets. Have you got something that you can engage with? True Metro Man, an aim down, look down shot against the F-14B of Cannibalistic Tomato. That has got to have the speed. Cannibalistic Tomato must surely be pulling some serious shapes here. But can you evade a missile? I'm not even seeing chaff coming out of the airframe. No dice. That's just bad luck. Oh, and BMD looks like he's in serious trouble with very fast AIM-120C shots. F-15 superpowers. They're just so high and so fast. Looks like he might have trashed that AIM-120C, which had the speed, but not the track. Looks like Comey 1 is coming in towards the lonely remaining F-16 of the boys in FTQ. We'll have to see if he's got track. You can see him just above his nose. This must surely be in range. Surely, surely. You're just messing with him now. A missile away. This missile, with the speed, with the range. Nothing but evasion. Bad luck. But can they get a response? Yes, they got one of the ALAMO planes in response, so it's not a clean sweep. And it looks like ALAMO has got to return to base, as that is a clean sweep for ALAMO. Bad luck. Now let's have a look and see how that all played out, because that went south very quickly for FTQ. So, let's take a step back and see where it all fell apart. So I believe that the first missile shots came against the 2 lead F-16s. It was Prez and Moldy that were leading the way in the southern group. Just so high and so fast. They didn't have time to mess around. So, we see them pull their noses up for lofting shots of AIM-120Cs. I mean, the speeds that these missiles were going at when they finally arrived, absolutely incredible. Is there anything that you can do when you've got missiles at this range coming towards you? You can see BMD immediately knows that they're in trouble, and Bait as well, living up to their name. In fact, I think that these 2 missile shots went against these 2 planes. So we have this one going for Bait, and we have this one going for BMD. That is phenomenal coordination beyond the Alamo team, launching against these two separate targets. Look in the background, another dual shot of AIM-120Cs. Perfect synchronization. BMD, I think, almost in disbelief at the range of these shots, thinking to himself, surely if I've puffed some chaff and lost some altitude, this missile must be trashed. Like, at this range, unbelievable. But it's still at Mach 1.8. And of course, you're pulling some shapes here. In fact, was it this one that connected, or was it? Yeah, so he managed to trash this missile, but only just. This AIM-120C from giving TNT, where did that originate from? This was one of the really long-range shots from True Metro Man. So, Dun 92's AIM-120C shot was quickly lost track, but this massive long-range shot from True Metro Man, just finding giving TNT. Unbelievable ranges we're talking here. This is beyond BVR. This is DCS putting on a clinic. Now, here we have this AIM-120C against Angry Raisin, which was launched from True Metro Man. So it looks like True Metro Man launching another AIM-120C fast and high. Angry Raisin knows that they're in massive, massive trouble. But you just can't pull shapes against a missile going Mach 2.4. Unbelievable. Now, I think we're getting treated to a little bit of a well-deserved performance from the Alamo boys, who have pulled off a tremendous, tremendous victory. Unbelievable. What a clinic. Just pure experts at the top of their league. That was unlucky for them. I think FTQ must be feeling shaken after that. I mean, when you get defeated in such a absolutely clinical way, what can you do? You're going to have to pick yourself up in a big way, and hopefully hope that you can put yourself together for the next fight. Because that was difficult. They got stuck on the defensive, blue team was higher up, and they were able to pressure them early. You're not wrong. So what do you think FTQ has to do in response to this? I mean, you just have to realize that the moment you realize that they were that high and that fast in F-15s of all things, I mean, oh God, what are you going to do against planes with that quality of radar? Absolutely insane. Blue has controlled the battle area for 5 minutes. So as we watch these guys return to base, let's have a look at some of the other killing that we got done here. So we have a... Did True Metro Man get a triple here? So we have True Metro Man going at Mach 1.3. Launch an AIM-120C against Cannibalistic Tomato, who, for an F-14, I don't know if any of those Phoenixes came off. You can't be carrying around those flagpoles at this low altitude. It's not where they belong. And, no chance of that thing missing. So it looks like True Metro Man got 3 separate kills. They might as well bring some bombs and hunt down this one guy. Oh, look. Now, where was the really slow AIM-120 hit? Here it is. This shot here, from bait. A realization that the defeating of a missile is genuinely a case not only of speed, but also maneuverability, to hope that this missile cannot lose its speed by turning. I mean, at the impact point we had We had bait going at something like 1. We had bait going at 1.05, and this missile going at 1.65. And what you need to do is you need to get that missile, which is not accelerating, to lose some of that energy. Because you are not getting away in a straight line, I'll tell you that. Can you show us a zoomed out vision of the ingress top down? See how FTQ... Sure. Let's have a look. So, let's go back to where it all began. So, we'll switch over to this one. We had the 3 formations come along. And I just don't know where the situational awareness for FTQ was. Because it looks like there was just no response. As things got touchy here, I mean, having a look at the map, we have bait, BMD, cannibalistic tomato. This whole fight looked like it started on the defensive. With ALAMO, just with the altitude advantage, I mean, you couldn't set up a more perfect ambush, and there was just no response. That is difficult. And you can see it's over in under a minute. That is difficult. That is difficult. And of course, no criticism of the boys from FTQ. This is high-level flying. And when you're flying in this caliber of competition, it is difficult to get away clean. It can slip away from you in a second. These pilots are all some of the best. Well, ALAMO, with their respective their respective motto, come and take it, they came and they took it. Absolutely gorgeous flying from this formation here. The poor little F-16 not invited to the formation of F-15s that we have joining in here. FTQ were just warming up, definitely. The match is not over. You can count on that much. These guys still have to come in and land, and then it's swapping sides. I'm sure that FTQ is busily discussing strategy with one another at the moment, because there is plenty that they can do next time. Especially if they've got an F-14B, they really need to get that thing up there and make sure that these F-15s don't get away cleanly with being up high and fast. You've got the right plane to be able to combat it. While we're taking it a little bit easy here, guys, don't forget to stand up, stretch, have a little bit of a drink. There's still at least one more match, maybe 2, to come. FTQ needed to respond even if they are low, so ALAMO got warnings. Well, that was the thing. All of the FTQ boys dying with so many missiles still on their wingtips. If things get this desperate, you really have to just start launching stuff. A missile that is lying unfired on the pylons of a dead aircraft is a missile you might as well not have brought. So, you're really going to have a proper think about where all of this fits into your strategy. You've got to have your finger on that trigger, because FTQ had almost all of their arsenal still on their wings as they met the ground. Were all those 120s lofting? Maybe FTQ didn't hear them if they were coming from top down. I think even at those altitudes there would have been warnings, particularly of radar locks. The dead zones of the visibility of the RWR I don't think are narrow enough necessarily to miss out on shots from those ranges. Are you covering any dogfight tournaments too? Not at the moment. How many rounds for this match? It's a best of 3. Well, well, well. Looking absolutely fearsome in their F-15s. These guys are just showing that they know what they're doing. They've got their formation lights on. Oh my goodness, I don't think I've seen F-15 pilots of this quality in a long, long time. Gosh, I hope if we see further rounds of this team, if we could get the 51st up against Alamo, and we see a East meets West brutal conflict, that would be tremendous. I hope the performance of the stream has been a little bit smoother and more watchable, and that the audio is all balanced out and sounding good for you guys. I put a bit of work into it and made sure that everything's set up and working the way it should be. The interesting question will be is when the F-15E comes out, whether on Alamo might expand their arsenal and introduce the F-15 alongside the F-15E alongside its F-15C brethren. When the teams are taking off, it was stuttery. I think that was just DCS. Can't be helped. Even staying in fingertip throughout the clouds, still watchable, and you're enjoying it. I am glad. Any way you can give us some engine sounds as they RTB? You betcha. No audio for the planes? Let me check something. That's the stuff. Can you hear that okay? Is that audible? Where are the Alamo guys from? Well, let me just set up so that we can watch our landing here. This is the correct airfield, I believe. As we have everyone preparing. That's the sounds. It is now. It was a bit low. Okay, I see. So, Alamo. Made up of North American and European players from the US, Germany, the Czech Republic, and Slovakia. Now, where have we got everyone? These guys are just... They're just showing off. Now, I wouldn't be living up to my name if I said that I don't appreciate a good air show from time to time. Seeing these guys show off what they've got is just amazing. Poor old Tab over here, in the F-16, not invited to the air show with F-15s. I mean, that's understandable. After a performance like that, they deserve to show off a bit. I agree. These guys have what it takes to show off a little bit. Poor F-16. I know! The poor old black sheep of the family. Not invited to the formation flying. But nothing wrong with that. Meanwhile, we have Alamo just making it look easy. Listen to that separation. What more could you want? And we have Tab and his F-16 coming along. Let's see if he can do a bit of buttering here. And a cleaner F-16 landing you will struggle to find. Absolutely gorgeous. Little bit of aero braking. Even Tab gets a chance to show off. Meanwhile, how are the F-15s looking? These guys are just phenomenal, aren't they? I can't get enough of them. It looks like we've got Prez leading the formation. Greased it, I know. Now, the question is, are these guys going to go for a formation landing? It's certainly... Oh, it looks like they're going for top brakes. The wings are good, but FTQ got destroyed before they were even out of the oven. Oh, look. And Prez leads the way as they top brake over the airfield and prepare for their landing run. Unbelievable. We've got Moldy following on. And then after that, we've got flares getting popped as these guys celebrate a well-deserved victory. And Metro Man, the 3-kill man, celebrating rightly as he should with a bunch of flares. These guys are putting on a clinic. Unbelievable. I mean, what a show from Alamo. Metro Man especially, man of the match so far, demonstrating a true master of the airframe. Might be overdoing it a bit now. When you're spectating aircrafts near the ground, stream starts to stutter. I see. Okay. Well, we've got Prez coming in. Ah, well. It's just the landings. And a smooth touchdown from Prez. That's confirmation of the win for Alamo, as these last guys come in for their victory. So, Alamo is victorious within round one. They take the first one. We have Moldy coming in. followed by Dun Dun. And the man of the match, True Metro Man, coming in. Can he land as good as he fights? Let's see this touchdown. Signed, sealed, delivered. Alamo is on the ground, safe and sound. And I think that they will be congratulating themselves as deserved. Nicely and neatly setting themselves back up on the taxiway. Very hard to judge glide slope sometimes, yeah. And we must admit that this is a live match being played on a multiplayer server. The playback will not always be 100% perfect. So sometimes we might see these planes smash their way through the ground. But the Alamo aggressors come and take it. I think they actually came and gave it. A little bit of a burnout from Dun Dun. No fancy tricks from True Metro Man. Well, FTQ definitely has an uphill battle ahead of them. I wonder what they're sitting talking about as they get ready for round 2, and what change of strategy they may be thinking about. I'm sure that they're thinking to themselves, if we could just get the F-14 up there, if we could just get those Phoenixes off the rails, if they want to fight high, then they better be careful, because F-14 is not to be tangled with. These pilots and all of the teams, FTQ, Alamo, 51st, the 343rd, and all the rest of them, they're at the top of their game. And they are some of the best pilots that DCS has to offer. If we were to chuck a few growling Sidewinder casuals in here, I think that we would get a very, very stern awakening about just how good some of these pilots are. As we have the last of the Alamo boys getting into a beautiful parking formation here and settling down. Wonderful. Definitely a strategy change for FTQ. You're not wrong. We'll have to see what they come up with. Well, that's an excellent bit of fighting from FTQ. An excellent bit of fighting from both teams. Alamo, I think, put on a show, but FTQ is not out of this fight just yet. Not parking on the lines. Yes, unfortunately, it's not a disqualification. So, while we're waiting for things to get up and running again, guys, let's go for a quick be right back. And everyone can go and get themselves a little bit of a drink and get a bit of a stretch. There's another match to come up, at least one, maybe two, while FTQ and Alamo get ready for the next match. Let's be right back. Alright, how are you feeling? You feeling a little bit hydrated, a little bit happy, a little bit relaxed? While we're waiting for everything to get going into the next round, let's have a quick look at some of the sponsors that we have for SATAC 2022. We have Heat Blur, Eagle Dynamics Magnitude 3, Decker Ironworks, Razbam, TACView, and Lot ATC, without whom competitions like this could not be possible. TACView is the program that you've been seeing, having me have a bit of a look at the tactical overview of the battle with those excellent red lines and wonderful diagnostic tools for the combat aviator. All of the teams that we have involved in this competition are separated into groups. I pressed the wrong button again. And once we're through the group stages, we'll enter knockouts. So, as we approach the second rounds of the group stages, we prepare for more fighting. I feel like Eagle Dynamics is going to be having a big year this year, with the release of the F-15E and potentially some of the impressive improvements that are expected to be coming for DCS this year. We look forward to seeing what we might see coming in the future. How does one sponsor this? Well, you'll want to speak to Tech, who is one of the organisers of the program. Alternatively, you can join in on the SATAC Discord, organised by the 51st. 51st is a very, very long-running DCS organisation, and they have a long history of organising the highest calibre of DCS flight simulation. Looks like we're all connecting up and everything's starting to get going the way that we hope it should be, with the teams switching sides. So we'll give everyone a little bit of time to load in and get moving, and then we'll switch over to the battle screen. What about my fighting skills? Well, there's a reason that I'm commentating the competition and not necessarily participating. I may be, amongst all of these pilots in this competition, one of the most enthusiastic, but one of the most talented. I would say, potentially not. They say that those who can do, and those who can't teach. And by that logic, I should be teaching. Imagine a SATAC F-16 team sponsored by GE Aerospace. If only. Who knows where we'll find ourselves in the future. Alright. Looks like we've got everyone arming up, starting up, and getting ready to go. And those who can't teach, they stream. Hey, look. If you like my content and coverage of SATAC, I stream quite regularly, playing a variety of games, but specialising in flight simulators, including IL-2 and DCS. If you like the sort of things that I do in my little funny VTuber model, highly encourage you drop a follow. If you are also interested, you can join in on some of my other content that I make, as we listen to the engines of the rest of the team join in. You can come and join my Discord, and follow me on Twitter for all kinds of stuff. Are these guys starting their engines in synchronization? I mean, if you weren't this good at it, then I would say that it may be a little bit egregious, but you know what? Okay, we'll let you get away with it just this one time. The howl of the F-15 engines. As these poor little F-16s, neglected and unloved, make their way towards the runway. They don't get fancy startups. They just have to go and make their way down to the taxiway. The F-15C has a super complicated startup in-game? Absolutely. Definitely one of the more advanced modules, with the infamous multi-button startup. I believe that pressing Shift L and then Shift Home is a complicated process, only accessible to some of the more professional DCS pilots. Shout out to FTQ, bringing a variety of airframes into the mix. It's not necessarily the best idea to just bring one kind of plane. There is a lot of potential within FTQ's lineup, especially with the Su-33 and the F-14, of which there is enormous potential for these aircraft to challenge the dominance that ALAMO provided in the first round. I think, if we're lucky, we might get to see the F-14B making use of its extreme long-range capabilities. If I could put luck into a bottle, I'd give it to these two right here. Cannibalistic Tomato and America in the F-14 Bravo. Your team has put their hopes on your shoulders, and I know you have the skill to do what it takes and put those Phoenixes where they belong, in the air against ALAMO's planes. But it won't be easy. They've laid down the challenge, but now, with a little bit of insight into their tactics, I think that FTQ is going to be nicely prepared for what might be an exciting second round. This is getting a little much. Synchronized startup. What next? Synchronized kills? Oh yeah, they already did that. Look. You can certainly get away with being a little bit fancy if you've got the skills to back it up. Just let me adjust some things here, because I can tell that the game is a little bit stuttery, so we'll just refresh some stuff here. Of course, when we're on the ground, the game's going to run a little bit rougher. But I think we're getting everything all squared away and looking good. The teams are preparing on their runways. The F-16's leading the way for ALAMO again. Okay, so we have the F-14B and the F-18Cs and the Su-33 all taxiing down the runway. Or rather, taxiing down the taxiway, more likely than not, as they make their way towards the runway and get ready for round 2. Oh, and I realized that I need to change one thing. I wish that giving TNT was my dad. Okay. That's cool. And there we go. We are in round 2. We've got a lot of giving TNT's fans in the chat. Where do you guys know for giving TNTs? You're a member of the science team. Looks like that Rio is having a fun time in the back. Neck exercise is a wonderful way to ensure that you're ready for a little bit of aviation combat. It's important to keep your head on a swivel, and that swivel may need a little bit of greasing. ALAMO is reporting that they are ready to go. Imagine your dad reading this top 10 anime betrayals. Unbelievable. The wings sweeping out for the F-14. Okie dokie, what are we looking at here? Everyone's lined up nicely on the runway. Alamo, with their obsession of perfect organization. He's the strongest and the fastest, and you put a $25 bet on him. Well, can't help but feel that there's a small amount of bias here, but never mind. Not sure that betting on DCS matches is necessarily an exercise in good money sense, but who am I to judge? The science team is related to Half-Life 1. I thought it was for Project Melody. Alamo sounds like Lamau. Okay, all teams report ready. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, go, go. And it's straight off with FTQ's F-16s getting ready to go. Looking good, feeling good. All teams taking off down the runway. A very fast start for FTQ. Everyone's staying in quite close formation. Cannibalistic Tomato and America in their F-14B. Getting ready to go. Go high, my boys. Yes, I feel like they need to not give up the altitude advantage quite so cleanly. Meanwhile, we have another split happening with Alamo, with two F-14s taking the north side. And the second group, I have no doubt, taking the south. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Alamo switches up tactics here. They went very high and very fast for the first round, but it worked very well. So we'll keep a close eye on them, and we'll see whether or not they get all the way up to 47,000 feet a second time. It's a very, very high altitude for planes to be at. Meanwhile, the F-16s are climbing high and climbing fast. Gosh, like rocket ships heading up into the sky. Already passing 25,000 feet on the Alamo side. Meanwhile, we have a large spread happening between FTQ. Looks like they are going to divide themselves, with the F-14 leading the way down the middle. Still not punching up to as high an altitude as I would have expected, with everyone hovering around about 10 to 15,000 feet. Cannibalistic Tomato at the highest altitude at 18,000 feet. Not even in burner. So being conservative with their fuel remains to be seen whether or not that's the right call, as the F-16s are crossing 30,000 feet, and it feels like that may well be where they stay. You can see that the AWACS E3 Sentry is hovering up a bit. Hovering up above, providing a little bit of tactical information for the teams. Well, we'll let them cook and we'll see what they come up with. There's potential in every strategy. But you would think that with so much trouble coming from so high, they may be feeling the urge to get a little bit of altitude. This doesn't look good for FTQ if they stay at these altitudes. Well, we don't know their strategy. It looks like they're getting into quite a wide spread, with Cannibalistic Tomato making their way up to altitude, passing 22,000 feet here at the moment. Just being a little bit conservative with the fuel. I think that what they may be going for is once they enter the circle, they're going to lay on the burner and potentially get some speed up so that they can get involved The F-16's passing 22,000 feet at the moment, so not necessarily too low. Interestingly, giving TNT and Revenge very low and not very fast. There must be some logic here. I'm sure there is a strategy. I don't know what it is just yet. So we'll have a quick look at the TAC view while we're just seeing what's going on here. So, Cannibalistic Tomato leading the way with America in the back, and Bait and BMD and the F-16s both passing 24,000 feet, while Giving TNT and Revenge are staying low and very slow. Meanwhile, the boys committing to the strategy that worked last time. F-16s down the middle, high altitude F-15s to the north and to the south. It is looking like ALAMO is not going to mess with a strategy that they know works, as it worked for them flawlessly last time. So, switch back to the battle and give everyone time to get involved. All right, this is what I like to see. We have Cannibalistic Tomato and America heading up to 32,000 feet, so... Oh, I think that one of the FTQs may have disconnected. So they may have to have someone start late. I'm not entirely sure what protocol is for this. I may have to ask tech. One way or another, we'll see what happens. So, 30,000 feet for the F-14B. And Angry Raisin is still at their airfield. Now, he didn't enter the circle, so he can take off and combat, I think. But we'll see. We have the two F-16s about to enter the circle and contest it. Just like before, the Reds are leading the way into the circle, and we have Bait about to get stuck in themselves. Passing 30,000 feet with the afterburner on. They are looking good, and they are feeling good. The battle area is contested. That means the fight is on. Current separation between the two teams is around about 100 nautical miles. They can rejoin if they did not enter the combat area. So, looks like we have Angry Raisin wasting no time. Hopefully, with a bit of luck and 3 fuel tanks, they can make their way to the combat area before things get a little bit too spicy. But that's going to be a tough ask. Meanwhile, the F-15s at 35,000 feet are progressing into the combat zone. Once again, high and fast. The tanks coming off, already empty. These guys are now flush and fast. As little drag as possible on these planes, so they can get up to the maximum speed they can, and they're beginning their combat climb. BMD, intimidatingly, going up against 2 F-15s in the north, as his teammates appear to be staying in a cluster to the south. Finally, we have Bait at 40,000 feet. So they have not given up the altitude advantage quite as enthusiastically this time. Cannibalistic Tomato and America are progressing their way up to 32,000 as well. Surely they must be receiving information at this point about where everyone is. So it may well be divide and conquer, with BMD looking like they're going to keep the boys busy down, rather up in the north, as this group of 4 is going to attack in detail against the southern group, giving TNT still quite low and quite slow, but the Su-33 and the F-14 and the F-16 in the south with the speed and power to potentially. So we have Prez and Moldy launching their first AIM-120Cs, once again, very high and very fast, lofting all the way up to 60, 70,000 feet. absolutely going at a rate of knots. Let's see if we have anything happening down here in the bottom. We have a AIM-120C launch from the Southern Group. Once again, going very, very high. And a second AIM-120C launch. There's no response from FTQ. No missiles coming out from FTQ. One of the AIM-120Cs from the Northern Group is going towards bait. And it is going fast. 2,000 kilometers an hour. BMD, are you going defensive here? Okay. Let's not get complacent about these missiles. I feel like, yeah, that missile's lost track. Oh, it's gone active, but no chance of that thing connecting down there. Unless, what about this AIM-120C? I feel like with bait going into the denser lower air, we have an AIM-54C Mark 60 launch, finally coming out of the F-14 towards the F-14's True Meteor Man, I think. Whoa, we've lost someone. BMD got impacted by the AIM-120C. He got cleaned up by the Northern Group. Bad luck. Sorry, I missed that one. We'll check it out on TAC View in a bit. We have high-altitude, high-speed missiles from ALAMO. They're going active. Have they got good tracks? Oh, this is not looking good. It's happening again. You have to go hard defensive. Please, please, guys. Oh, no, this is not looking good at all. The Su-33 is gone for FTQ. Unlucky. This AIM-54C looks like it's just not getting the distance here. We've lost the F-14 as well. I have just been left behind by the action here. We're going to have to check TAC View to see what's happening here. This R-27ER has nowhere to go. It's got no one guiding it. We have another high, long-range AIM-120C shot. We're going to have to catch up with this action after the fact. That F-14 launched its AIM-54 and disappeared off the face of the planet. Bait has managed to evade that AIM-120C, but is not looking like he's in a good place. Giving TNT is low and just struggling to contribute. Angry Raisin, the latecomer, is burning his way towards combat area, lower altitudes. I think they're relying on the cover of the hills. This is looking troubling. While we're waiting for some more action here, let's see if we can figure out what happened to that F-14. Just going to check the TAC View here for a sec. AIM-120C launched by True Metro Man. Yep. Alright. We'll keep an eye on DCS here at the moment. We have bait launching an AIM-120C high up against Dun 92 with an AIM-120 released in response. One firing up and one firing down. You're going to have to rely on the ground clutter to hopefully be able to spoof these missiles. And that may be just enough. These AIM-120Cs are not going to be able to climb high and fast enough. Launching two of them against Dun and them not connecting is difficult. Difficult. That is not easy. These AIM-120Cs, I don't think, are going to do anyone any favors traveling at a paltry 500 knots. No dice. Meanwhile, the rest of ALAMO is just progressing towards these stragglers as Angry Raisin has finally entered the combat area. Those tanks empty now, but with a full rack of missiles. Maybe there can be a bit of a surprise here. That missile ambitiously going active now. But no dice. It is no chance of getting up there and interacting with these boys. These guys are fast, and they are launching missiles. Two AIM-120Cs. Prez has launched in TWS, both against Giving TNT and bait. These are going to be difficult missiles to dodge. Let's see. Two AIM-120Cs, one in return. We'll keep an eye on how these go. Looks like the one going for Giving TNT. Ooh. Got him. And it's bait and Angry Raisin. They're the last ones remaining. Has this AIM-120C Got speed. No dice. An AIM-120C from Raisin is making its best shot, but doesn't look like it has the range. Dun Dun is launching another AIM-120C here, and it is going at a rate of knots towards Bait, who I think is in serious trouble here. Yep. No getting away from that. 2 impacts. Angry Raisin, the last one left for FTQ, the latecomer. Can he make a scratch against Alamo? Now we're just hoping that he's got what it takes to at least make one connection here. Make a presence for FTQ. We've got Dum Dum launching AIM-7s. We're down to Sparrows. Dun Dun, rather. Fox 1 missiles, so he's going to have to know that there's one coming. Probably gone dumb in the mountains. Doesn't look like it's tracking anything. And another AIM-7 coming in. These two guys are really close to each other. For these missiles, you can see there's tracking just to the bottom of him. He's launched an AIM-9M. They're within spitting distance of each other, and it connects. Bad luck to FTQ. That is a difficult, difficult fight. Well, they came up and they showed off what they had, and it was a tough fight. Alamo just putting on an absolute clinic. Alright, let's see if we can catch up. Everything happened so quickly there, I don't think I even got a chance to breathe or blink. So, let's check in with Cannibalistic Tomato and America. Launching their AIM-54C, I think we all hoped that they would make better use of these Phoenix missiles. And True Metro Man definitely knows that that AIM-54 is coming in and is cold and losing altitude lightning fast, because he knows that his Fox 3 missile will be using its own radar at this point. GG to Alamo, FTQ put up a fight, but Alamo had some seriously good tactics. Cannibalistic Tomato is just going low and fast, but this AIM-120 is traveling at Mach 2.2, and that F-14... Oh, no! Is that what I think happened? What happened there? We're going to have to see what happened with that. Is that a wing overload crash? Plane just looked like it got wrecked, but the 120 is just, yeah, must have overstressed it. First year for FTQ in SATAC, they'll get back stronger next match? Absolutely. Getting into their first matches is difficult. He ejected because he knew it was coming. We might have to ask them. Alright. While we're having a look at what else is going on. So the F-14, unfortunately, appears to have had disintegrated. This long-range AIM-120C shot. This one, I believe, coming from Dun Dun 92. Yeah, Dun Dun 92. Oh, Dun Dun launched the one against the F-14, and True Metro Man launched the one against the Su-33, which got good track. The F-14 got hit, TAC view error. Oh, I see. Well, Cannibalistic Tomato, I was wondering if anyone from FTQ might be available for a quick interview. If you could confer with your colleagues, and if one of you is able to join in on the Discord, I would love to speak to one of you. My game crashed and you had a HOTAS issues on rejoin. You did what you could. You did your absolute best. You guys from FTQ, you just... I mean, you put on that hell of a fight. This is, I believe, your first SATAC, and it's not easy. Very, very well done for participating and putting up a really good fight. You did your level best. And I look forward to the rest of your matches. Alright, looks like I've got someone to talk to. Let's see. Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, loud and clear. I gotta turn you down.
No worries.
Alright. How we doing?
Good, thank you. And how are you? This is FTQ Revenge coming and having a chat with us here. How'd you enjoy that match?
It was rough. Not gonna lie.
Yeah? No.
Yeah.
ALAMO, I mean, these guys are veterans. They've been through the ringer there, and both of those rounds were some extremely difficult flying to go up against.
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
we're pretty new. We're only a year old. And a bunch of my guys, this is their first ever match in general, for competitive. And I know the ALAMO, most of the ALAMO boys really well, and they're pretty battle hardened. I think it was mainly just a big mismatch trying to fight F-15s with things that can't fight F-15s at that altitude. So,
yeah. After the first round and seeing those F-15s attacking from such high altitudes with their Fox 3s, was there a discussion about a change of tactics for the second round?
Yeah, there was a discussion. We were debating back and forth on what can even really be done. The issue with DCS jamming is, on average, for any aircraft, you cannot get a lock within 26 miles. Unless you have a very powerful radar. None of our 14 couldn't burn through. Nobody was being able to burn through, so we were getting launched on. Quite consistently.
This is where the difficulty with the Phoenixes came in, I guess, with the struggling to burn through.
Yeah, the issue with the Phoenix is when you home on jam it. So you don't have this issue if you have Jester. Jester, I believe, I don't know if he burns through or sees through or something, but even on jamming targets, they'll act normal. However, with our Rio, who helps out our pilot quite a bit, when you home on jam, they don't loft, they don't do anything, and we've noticed they just don't perform the same at all.
Right. Okay.
So they go pretty straight. They're already like it's homing on them. So instead of lofting, it's already going through denser air. And with the way that the AIM-54's been adjusted, I mean, any pull is a hell of a drag. So our 14 was just kind of rendered useless in this one.
Yeah, no, I had not considered the impact of the inbuilt ECM within the F-15s and the difficulties that would cause with the lofting capacities of even the AIM-120s.
Yeah. Well, and our 16s couldn't fire because home on jam on the 16s is currently borked, from my understanding. We have a really good Rio and a really good Tomcat pilot. We just, with what was put up against us, it just was rendered ineffective, unfortunately.
Yes,
I think an emerged R-14 pilot could do a little damage. He's really good.
Yeah, well, Cannibalistic Tomato and America, I believe, were putting on as good a show as they could given the circumstances. If you were to potentially think about bringing different planes next time, what would you consider?
We'd at least have a twin ship of 15s for sure. I think the flanker is actually quite a good choice for certain parameters. My second round there, I got hit by a max ranger because I hit my ECM button, but it didn't turn on. So they could see me from max range, which is unfortunate. I realized that half the reason I didn't inject so soon was I was trying to look at what the hell happened in my cockpit, and I noticed my jammer wasn't even on. So
oh no,
that was a little rough. But yeah, it's I think we'll definitely bring some 15s. I got really good 18 pilots, and I think they are very much useful. But when you're just facing an absolute superiority fighter, and the jamming in DCS, it's just rough with them. I got quite a mixture of flyers in my squadron, and I'm trying to get them all seat time. So we're here for the fun. We got smacked a little bit, and I guess we'll just see what happens with ETF. They like to bring Jeffers, and I like Jeffs as well, so we'll see what we do.
And please pass my congratulations to all of your teammates for showing up and for putting on a fantastic show. Flying in competitions like this is really hard, and the luck of the draw dictated that you went against some of the longest serving veterans.
Yeah.
Which is a tricky one, that's for sure.
When I saw it, don't get me wrong, I have complete faith in our guys, and I had a complete faith for this. I think for some reason we just weren't expecting as many 15s in their use in the way they are. We have scrimmed against Alamo before, and it was much different than this. But again, they're really good flyers, and they know their airframes. Dun, I've flown the 15 with them before. He's pretty nuts. But we're also really waiting for the 15E to come out, and it's, you know, the luck of the draw says we got last year's winners in Alamo, and it's rough and tough, but you know, you get forged in fire, so to speak. So we'll just take it as it rolls.
It's a terrific learning experience for everyone involved. Well, I might leave you to it. Please pass my my sincere gratitude to all of the members of your team, and I wish you all the very best of luck with the next matches that you guys have coming up. I'm sure that they're going to be phenomenal. Thank you very much, Revenge.
Thanks for streaming, man. Take it easy.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. So, that was FTQ Revenge with his rookie team. The underdogs in this fight, and it's always a tricky battle. When it comes to coming up against the veterans, it's a tale as old as time. So hopefully they can come up with some new strategies and some new practice as things go on. Important thing to remember is that Rocky actually lost the fight in the first movie, so I'm really looking forward to what this team is going to be capable of in the future. Let's not get too head-butty about the performance of relative aircraft, guys. We're here to have good fun. Let's not stress too much about what is and isn't overpowered. You can bring what you can bring, and you can adjust yourself to the kind of fighting that happens within the air. So don't worry too much about it. And please, don't think less of anyone. These guys are doing very, very well, and I'm very, very proud of FTQ for showing up and contributing to this wonderful competition. And if you think that you can do better, form a team. Join in on the competition. I've certainly seen teams bring F-15s, and I'm completely a cropper of Su-27s. And I've seen JF-17s make a complete embarrassment about Su-33s, and F-14s get outranged by F-18s. There's all kinds of different tactics and strategies that can make everything work in the sky up here. So, if you think you can do better, join in on SATAC 2023 and show us. Let's not backseat the competition. Let's not butt heads against anyone. Just congratulate people on a fight well had. They'll have plenty of time to have a look at the TACView files and have a think about what they'll be able to do differently next time. But if I have any disparaging comments about any of the participants, then rest assured you'll be taking a time out. And experimentation is the key to the improvement of everyone's ability to learn and fly within DCS. The reason we fly in these games is because of how much we enjoy this sort of thing. And if we weren't getting challenged and introduced to new ideas and new concepts with the game that's developing and changing all the time, then who knows? The next time we have SATAC in 2023, who knows if we'll see the F-15E and everyone will be talking about, oh boy, what can we do against this? What can we do against that? Maybe ED will completely change the way the ECM works. There's a lot of training and a lot of practice that goes into all of this sort of thing. The Rapid Dragon? What do you mean? Oh no. Not the C-130. The day I see a C-130 in SATAC is the day that I'm not sure what SATAC is about anymore. The JF-17. The JF-17 can be quite a fearsome aircraft, but a lot of the tactics that are used with regards to it can be quite unconventional compared to some of the Western aircraft. I've certainly seen some JF-17s put an absolutely fearsome show and demonstrate the capabilities of that airframe, and with those SD-10 missiles with excellent guidance systems, they can certainly be put to good use, but it's not easy. The SD-10 dual pylons do bring a lot of drag, you're not wrong. If you ever wanted to see what the JF-17 is really capable of, try going clean with only single SD-10s on the pylons, and you'll realize that the performance increase from those non-dual pylons is fantastic. So it's a tricky one, that's for sure. I think everyone who flies the JF-17 just wishes that they had 2 extra pylons. Looks like we're going to be treated to a formation landing from our F-16s over here. The SD-10 is a good missile, but it's held back by the old API where it won't reacquire. The jammer is good, and the plane is good, but it's a bit hard to fly. It does require a different kind of flying, that's for sure. It'll be interesting to see the changes to these missiles that we get, especially with the F-15E. I'm sure it will get a little bit of attention with its performance, and that'll affect all of the other planes that bring these sticks along. And there you go. There goes round 2 to Alamo, as all of my frames drop all over the place. We'll change the scores. And there we go. Alamo are the winners of Week 3 FTQ versus Alamo. Everyone involved put on a wonderful show and ought to be very proud of themselves. And with some customary flares as they make their top breaks over the airfield. I remember there was a period, and at this point it may have been years ago, where there was the SD-10 was a very, very desirable missile because it had some very good INS guidance, but I think that it may not be the behemoth that it once was. And we have Alamo making their way towards the runway. in a beautiful formation. Prez leading the way, followed by Moldy and Dun 92, and then True Metro Man. All of whom have carried their F-15s with undeniable quality. I've often thought that one of the more difficult elements of the F-16 is definitely wrangling that radar. It can definitely feel like it has a bit of a struggle when it gets to the longer ranges. But ED is ED, and they'll make decisions one way or the other. Touching down gently, Prez leading the way for the F-15s of ALAMO. Is it just me, or the F-16 has the ugliest cockpit? Oh my goodness, I know some people who would rip your skin off for saying something like that. Unbelievable. I know people who love that cockpit. And they say it's the F1 car of the skies. Oh, Moldy with a little bit of a bump. Even the best of the best sometimes have a bounce. Dun is progressing down to the threshold. The entirety of ALAMO making it back from this flight. As due to the F-16's limited power output. Well, there you go. Flew the F-16 for such a long time now, you cannot see the cockpit anymore, but you have the biggest aversion against the F-18 horny cockpit. I love the Hornet's cockpit. I think it looks like a fighter jet on the inside there. And the last of the ALAMO boys. So while everyone's parking up, let's just have a little last look at TAC view and see how things shaped up. This is where it gets very threatening. These dual AIM-120C launchers, I mean, this is practice in motion here. I feel like only if you've been flying for a long time with a group of people you know very well are you going to be pulling off things like this. 2 AIM-120Cs launched at exactly the same time against separate targets. I mean, you see something like that pulled against you in combination with a loft. These missiles go up to 70,000 feet, and that's just difficult. Difficult. And you can see that FTQ, that's a troubling position to be in. Still maintaining Mark 4 up here. So much range. And poor old BMD over here. Just realizing that in this level of competition, and I think this is a TAC view error that we don't see this connect, but realizing that in this level of competition, there's these missiles can really go a long way, a really long way. And interesting points being made about the performance of the AIM-54s against jamming targets. It's not something I had necessarily considered very much. Tricky to think about how you would combat that. Though I'm sure that plenty of teams have theories on how to do it. Meanwhile, we have ALAMO gently parking up. And as true Metro Man, now stuck in the grass. Someone's gonna have to go get the tow truck. And they have distinguished themselves beautifully in this competition here today. What a show that they had. F22 full fidelity win. Ooh, we'll see. Okay. Looks like we'll be having a chat with Prez. ECM wasn't on despite hitting the button. That's a tough situation. I wonder what caused that. And especially when you have the SU-33's ECM, which takes a little bit of time to get functioning properly too. Even once you realize, you might suddenly come to the conclusion that you might be in a lick of trouble there. It's a difficult situation to be in, that's for sure. What if you were in their position? What do you think you might have done differently there? The 120 seems really dependent on the energy put into it by the firing aircraft. Definitely, but the same is true of most missiles. There's a lot going on in the sky. And it's all a question of a complex physics puzzle, to which, if the answers were simple, I feel like we would all know exactly how we're meant to fly, but it's trickier than done. Well done, Moldy. You did really well there. Your whole team flew and distinguished themselves very well there. Great flying in your F-15s. And well done to FTQ for joining in and getting their teeth cut in competition. I really look forward to seeing where they get to. True Metro Man, the man himself, 3 kills in the first match, putting on an absolute clinic with the AIM 120C, making sure that every shot counts as far as they can go. We'll just see if we can get Prez to come have a hello shortly. And while we're waiting for that, we'll just have a quick look at the remaining teams in this competition. So, ETF, Alamo, and FTQ, all in Group A. So, we'll see who they come up against next, and who Alamo will be cutting their teeth against next. Truly a difficult fight. The Super Bowl? Is the Super Bowl on? I don't know. I don't watch Hand Egg. I watch True Sport. I watch SATAC. I watch aviation combat at the highest level. I don't have time for any of that. And it looks like we have Alamo here ready to talk to us. So, let's go say hi. Hello, Alamo.
Hello.
Oh, hello, what's up?
Oh, you'd like to introduce yourselves here for a sec?
So hello guys, I'm Prez, I'm the leader of Alamo. I have Dundun with me, Metro,
Hello.
and Moldy. Dundun is former leader and longtime Alamo member. Metro, longtime Alamo member, been here pretty much since day one as well. Moldy's a newer guy, but we have him here, so yeah.
And how long have you guys been flying together for?
The
2019 for me and Prez, I think.
No, it was I know I think it was October 2020 is when the team formed, because I didn't start playing DCS until
Oh wait, you're right. I'm thinking
September
of the old Alamo.
2020. Yeah, so Alamo was formed under Dundun with this group back in October 2020, and then we officially rebranded as Alamo Aggressors when I took control the following summer. So yeah.
And was it always F-15s?
No. I think originally we were like we kind of were a hodgepodge like most other
Originally,
teams.
I wanted to be a flanker squad, but then we kind of just turned into a Viper and Hornet squad. The
Mm.
Eagle only thing was kind of Preza's thing since
Yeah,
like
that was I
the last
dun, dun,
year or so.
yeah, I was convinced that the F-15 was the greatest thing on planet Earth, and I'm still correct about that. So the team is F-15 standardized. That is what we fly. 16 is a secondary aircraft, which is why people saw us fly it the other day. But the 15 is our jet, and we fly it, pretty much everywhere, and only that.
And what do you think worked for you in those two matches? What was... Did your plan execute how you imagined it in your mind?
Pretty much.
It went a lot smoother than we thought it would. We really didn't expect to get so many first pass kills. I didn't so I don't know what FTQ's composition was going to be for their team makeup, and I didn't know how they would have used ECM. When I saw so because we really only saw two guys strobing that entire time, probably the flanker and then the Tomcat. Um, so we were basically just like all the Eagles on first pass were like, all right, pick a guy who isn't strobing and foxing him as far away as you can. Uh, so yeah.
Well, it did work out. Some phenomenally long-range shots happening there, some of which exploded right at the limit of their energy. I think one was connecting against the target going 105 mark, and the missile was going at like 140 mark, and was catching up with it so slowly that you could almost outrun the two planes. That was phenomenal, truly. Do you put a lot of practice into formations and do you set aside time during the week for all of you guys to get out and really knuckle down and practice with each other?
Well, we do practice a lot. We do practice like every week, a couple times at least. As far as the formation stuff goes, I kind of like when you first join the squadron, we train making sure you can fly form, and then when it gets to a point where I'm like, okay, it's good enough, I'm just like, you'll get better because we basically fly parade or fingertip everywhere. Like that's our standard formation. We don't fly like relaxed route or anything like that unless I say so. So we're usually flying around in fingertip, which is why our guys are so good at it.
The trick is to
Okay.
get used to the 16, and then the Eagle's easy.
uh, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Were there any points during that match that you were a bit concerned? Did anything catch you off guard, or was there any points
For
of
me
concern?
personally, there was one moment when Metro said he got a Phoenix warning.
Yeah, that was just
Yeah.
okay. I'm heading out. Give me a second. Okay, done. Coming back.
Yes,
Yeah,
well, FTQ mentioned that they were struggling with the Phoenix because I was convinced that this high altitude strategy with the lofting AIM-120s, that the F-14 and its Phoenixes would be its undoing, but it seems as if the F-15's ECM was the saving grace there. But yeah, no, I can imagine the concern with Metro Man leaving in a sincere hurry when that 54 showed up.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the Tomcat was my main squeeze for a long time, and I still like dedicate all my F-14 time to Rioing, so I know a lot about it. So I was like, yeah, if we just turn on our jambers, like, there's really nothing the Tomcat can do against us. And we were even joking in our voice chat with the 64th guys, Tab and Comey, great guys, that they because they were flying as 16s, they didn't have the jamming pod. We were joking that they were our stand-in Talds for us.
Okay, I see. Fair enough. Oh gosh, well, it looks like it all worked out for you. And FTQ being a new team into SATAC, this is their first outing together. I think have had a baptism by fire, but will be coming back with an absolute vengeance, having had learned some lessons here. If you had to give some advice, now I know that helping out your adversaries might be a bit tricky. What would you suggest?
We were in that position also, and yeah, we
I
worked out of it.
I would say honestly, like, if you want to develop a strategy for these kinds of tournaments, you really have to figure out the fundamentals of the game, not simply like what works in general, right? Because like this is the only tournament in DCS that has ECM, right? So you really have to go in and figure out how ECM works in DCS, which is not very good, frankly. It's very primitive, but it still does something and something every single time. So you can plan to that. And obviously, you know, we use our jammers in a way that does that. So just basically setting aside like an hour or two a week, before a tournament starts, or even in the middle of a tournament, to develop tactics and stuff. Like today, Metro and I was testing out the AIM-120 against ECM just in case they were gonna do like a crazy like everyone's jamming sort of tactic. Thankfully, that didn't really matter. But even right before the match, we were like, all right, let's figure out how to use the AMRAM the best if they're jamming.
Right. Okay.
So I would just say you really got to set time aside, not to just like have fun and fly, or to be serious and train, but like to, like actually figure out how this game works.
Yeah.
Really,
get into the lab and.
A lot of
Yeah.
testing is necessary. Like a lot of our
Yeah.
theory comes from testing I've done over the last several years playing.
Yeah, that's why
DCS.
we took our AMRAM shots so far away. I don't even know what the furthest one we took is, or the furthest one we hit, but it's definitely not the furthest we've been able to get kills with the
I see.
AIM-120C.
Furthest
So,
I took, I think, was 60 this match.
yeah, I think I told everyone to take a 60-mile shot max. But we can definitely do more, especially in the kinetics that we're able to achieve in the 15.
Well, fair enough. Thank you very much for your time, guys, and great flying today. I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and I look forward to seeing you further along in the competition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for streaming.
Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks, guys, and I will catch you all later.
See you.
Well, tremendously good sports. Well done to all of those guys and all of the participants. They've done extremely well. FTQ, well done. Good fights, good flying. And Alamo, congratulations on the victory today. No raids today. We're just going to call it there. So thanks, guys, for spending time with me for this round of SATAC. I hope you all had lots of good fun. Look forward to this Sunday. Nuff is going to be streaming another SATAC match. And in fact, if Nuff is here, they can let us know who the fight is. I have this written down somewhere. Just let me double check my notes. You like the attitude from both teams? Oh, look, if you're not having fun, then what's the point? Let me double check here. Double check the schedule. There it is. Okay, on the 5th of March, we have TMC versus RS being streamed by Nuff Butter. So, if you have enjoyed my coverage of SATAC today, I hope that you will drop a follow and join me for further SATAC streams and join in on the rest of the content. You can join in on my Discord here and alternatively follow me on Twitter for all airshow content. I'm going to end now, guys, and look forward to seeing you in future SATAC events, streams, and joining in with me.